Good morning, traders. Time again for the Tuesday outlook and setups. I've been away this weekend, so Monday I wasn't at the charts, even though price did create did create a few good moves. So we're gonna have a look at euro dollar, pound dollar, and gold primarily those three. I'm gonna start off with euro dollar. Remember, I think it was last week we spoke about price being stuck between this imbalance, and we can see the price is finally on EU at least making headway lower, reacting off of this imbalance, failing from this fair value gap, and looks like prices indeed heading lower. We are making lower lows, lower highs, and lower lows. Then on the 4 hour, it's a little bit messy, but there's that high of the daily fair value gap, price trading into it, breaking down, pulling back, respecting it again from that order block, and trading lower. So in terms of just looking at structure, everything is pointing towards lower pricing. If we just look at this portion, then on the 15 minutes, we just quickly look at our days and sessions. Yesterday we opened up, we consolidated. Asia just barely swept. London just barely swept Asia high, trading lower, pullback in the gap time between the two sessions. Next new session started, and we just continued trading lower, um, making a low, pulling back, respecting that opening price. That's something that I've been noticing a lot, especially on gold and then now on forex space as well. But having the daily candle opening price is really powerful. It really helps. I don't know. I think it's nice seeing that opening gap and then seeing how it then respects it and trades back to it, almost as a level of support and resistance. As we can see that we can just plot it there and just quickly turn this off. Support, resistance. New day starts respecting the previous day opening candle, and now we're seeing price breaking down or potentially going lower. But I think that's kind of a good way of gauging also direction, making that wick of the candle breaking down, not finding support on that opening price, failing to go higher, and then potentially going lower, potentially then later on seeing a retest of that price and then continue lower. So that's not necessarily the setup, but it's a good way of finding direction or finding a bias, in my opinion. So if we're taking a long here, knowing then that potentially a target as the opening price could be a target as we're seeing with previous data, the price respects that opening price or retrades back to it often. So yeah, so in terms of analysis for today, we have now a new range to trade into. So there's our previous day high and our previous day low. This is quite important because EU did not sweep previous day high, whereas GU did. So there could be some SMT divergence. So EU made the lower low, GU made a higher, but also falling down lower. So that's a good sign for price going lower. So far for the day, I am more bearish for now. Obviously, as I've seen with analysis, everything can change in the blink of an eye. So that's why I'm not that stuck on analysis or don't do it very heavy top-down analysis that often. Or I do, but just intraday wise, because everything can change so quickly, especially if there's one or two possible scenarios that you're noticing. Anyway, potentially then looking for shorts. Obviously, would look for the session to start, wait for a pullback. I would want to see price trade above a uh, fractal high. So if this becomes a new lower high after we get a confirmation and price pulling back, then I would like to see a sweep of a high and then a continue lower. So that's kind of the entry, what I'm looking for. If I'm short, I want to first see buy side liquidity taken out or a previous high taken out and then going short. So that's just some thoughts on EU. Let's have a look at GU. GU is ultimately still stuck in this daily consolidation. This really ugly sideways moving market on the daily. So I'm not even going to attempt to draw up levels. Even the 4 hour, I don't know if I want to even attempt this. 4 hour trading above that high, coming lower. This is a new low that could be traded to. It's bouncing between highs and lows, so your best bet is then targeting highs and lows as it bounces off of them, from the one side to the other side. So even on the 4 hour, there's no real fair value gaps or stuff to trade or look for. So I'm only looking at highs and lows, trading above that high, previous day low. There's our range that I'm then interested in. If we then look at the 15 minutes, so just take a look at this then. So EU failed to trade above the previous day high. GU did trade above the previous day high. The opening prices down here, we didn't respect it the same way EU did. But we did trade up to the previous daily high, making a new high of day. This is currently the low of day. So wondering if price could potentially trade lower to previous day low. So this is Monday's range. If we just put it like this, we have Monday's range. So that is our opening range. It's the opening to the week. The first day of the week sets a range. That is the opening range of the new week. New week started. Monday passed. That is the range created on Monday, hence the opening range. So we have that range. We're trading above it, kind of a false break above that high, and then we're seeing this breakdown. So I'm not saying we can't go higher. We currently, if we just look at EU being a indicator as to where price could be going, then yes, potentially shorts as well. But ultimately, GU is in a really consolidated state, so it's not giving me any clear higher time frame direction. So it makes it a little bit less probable trading on the lower time frames because you're just bouncing between levels. But that is where we are currently in GU, in pound dollar, so we can't do much about that. Looking at then as we sweep that high, I'm looking then for London, first, second hour of the session to then give me a potential trade. You'll often see that the first hour can set the high of the day or high of the session, second hour follow through. Often you see the first hour just consolidating. I'm not sure if I'm going to find an opportunity now. Second hour consolidating, or and then the first hour consolidating, second hour setting high of the low, and then third hour continuation. But anyway, for today, I'm just going to wait for London to start and see if we get maybe a further breakdown. First hour setting in low, second hour pulling back, lower high, and then a continuation lower. Um, or what we could see also is just price pulling back, clearing this sell side between into this fair value gap, because this is kind of a, I don't want to trade breaks into this. I don't want to trade a break into this because we know it could just bounce off of this fair value gap. So on that side as well, maybe potentially we'd only break below, take out this sell side liquidity into the fair value gap, give a lower time frame entry, and then trading it even higher following. So it's not to say that this is a liquidity sweep and it's going to trade lower. It could just continue up higher. But I'm not seeing strong breaks on the 50-minute, even above this high. It's not a strong break. Bodies just closes below it with this feed. So it's not clear to see which direction we're going. So I'm gonna have longs in mind, also shorts in mind. So in that case, I'm waiting for time, waiting for the sessions to give a clearer indication of what's happening. This is my favorite. If we trade above a fractal high, give an entry pattern like we had over here, and then trade it towards the downside. That was a nice leg down. It was choppy and didn't move explosively, but it did reach its target. For me, it was Friday's low. Because coming into Monday, the real range is Friday's high and low. Coming into Monday. Monday sets a high and low. Going into Tuesday, there's a range that we traded. And then quickly looking at gold. Okay, so looking at gold then, also firstly on the daily trading from this bearish fair value gap, and we're reacting off of this bullish fair value gap. So we've been seeing a similar to EU. We've been trading inside these two ranges. So that low then becomes a objective for me, or we could just put this low as objective. If we continue to respect this daily fair value gap, which I think we should because we made a break, they pulling back to that fair value gap, continuing lower, does seem fitting on a daily. On a 4-hour basis, traded above that high. Yesterday we traded down into that fair value gap, pulling back up, and now we're just moving sideways. Looking then on the 15 minutes at our ranges. So we opened, so that was Monday's low and high. Low and high, we're trading within, I'm going to remove that now. So we're trading within this range currently just consolidating within this range. New day started. We're seeing price just consolidated. Just a quick fact that let me just get the data, so I don't have that many samples yet, but out of 50 days, so far, out of 50 days, Asia sets the high of the low for the day by the end of London session. So, meaning that by the end of London session, Asia has set in the low of the day or the high of the day. By the end of London session, or close to the end, Asia sets the high of the day so far. Doesn't mean it's going to go past it, but that tells me already that there's a very good chance that this is going to be the high or the low for London session. So if London starts to pump down, I'm going to look for shorts for London session to trade short. Or if I then catch a low, the London low, London sets the low of the day, I'm going to take longs trading up to the high because my data says that Asia sets the high or the low for London session for the day by London session end. So if London session ends here and it's at a low, it's a high probability the price is going to go up and then trade above the Asia high. And it's very, very rarely, out of 50 trades, it swept only 40% of the time that it made a sweep of a high low. And it made the high or the low for the day 94.5%. And New York made a high or the low 62% of the time, whereas London only made it 29% of the time. So London rarely makes the high or the low of the day. Usually New York makes the high or the low, high or low, or both in this case, of the day, or well, high of the day. There's the low. So that is very interesting. So it's very interesting and good to collect these data. Also, gold likes to respect opening prices as well. Respects it about 62% of the time. So trading lower, if we respect this, break lower, I'll be interested in looking for shorts continuing lower. So as the high time frame is also more inclined towards bearishness, I would expect price, or I would favor shorts as well. Looking at current price action. So, and we were still in this range, high and low. So we will definitely trade to one of these areas. Another thing, previous day high, consolidating below previous daily high often is a recipe for price to move up to that high. So that is definitely a strong scenario as well. If we trade up to that previous daily high, sets in a high for London, and then potentially New York trade lower again. So a few options, again, waiting for time and price action to confirm a thesis. Now there's just ideas. We want a confirmation of a thesis of an idea, and then we strike on that. Guys, that's it from me this morning. I hope you have a lovely week. Hope you have a lovely day. And I'll see you in the next one.